And we're live.
Really?
So the reason you clap is to sync the audio and the video.
Oh.
And then, sorry guys, I'm breathing hard because I just did some pull-ups.
You shouldn't have done
I shouldn't have done. And then, so you clap, and then you have the silence. So then Barost can get a baseline noise, and he can just take that all out. Because you know how you hear the window a little bit?
Yeah. That's nice. That's very nice.
So
today I learned.
You've been working out, you were just saying.
Yeah, a little bit. Not actually a little bit. It's been good. I've been working out for almost 3 months now. And it's probably the most consistent period of time that I've been working out in my entire life. It's not that much.
Even with Bill?
It was a little bit different.
Mm-hmm.
Like with Bill, it wasn't, we didn't have a goal, right? It was just a casual, everyday workout to just be like in shape, to just not go out of shape, to be honest. But now we actually have a goal, which is like being actually fit and having a shape of body, and we are actually. Our goal is based on the fat percentage of the body. So when we are decreasing the fat percentage, right?
Okay.
Which means we have to gain muscle because we can't lose the weight, right?
Yes.
So we have to gain muscle to replace fat with muscle, right? So based on some research that I did, I realized that at my age, the fat percentage of the body should be around 12 to 15%.
Does it go up or down with age?
I think it goes, if you want to be fit, it can be higher.
I see.
Right?
Yeah.
But anyways, it has to be around that, and I think I'm now about 22, 21, which is not good. I'm not happy with it, so I'm saying that quietly, but I'm not proud of that. But I'm hoping to get to 15 in the next 3 months.
I was actually
15%.
like thinking of you like the last couple of times I saw you, like not the most recent, but like early in the year, like October or something. And you had working out, and then I was like, Ehsan, like this isn't like I remember you used to be much more fitter, and so. But I'm glad that you're doing it.
That had a reason actually.
What was the reason, if I may ask?
Yeah, for sure. The reason was a priority. So starting summer, it was. Not summer, it was before summer, around April, May, I started working on a side project. And I promised myself, and these are two priorities in my life. These were two priorities in my life, to complete one of the side projects that I've always had in mind. Second, to have a fit body. These are my top two priorities.
So the fit body was below.
It wasn't, but at that time I had an idea, and I went a little bit toward executing that idea, and it actually went pretty good. So at that time I had to decide that I should complete this one and then go to the other one, because I didn't have enough time during the day to do both. Right?
Sure.
I always that was
I understand.
Like the ideal me would have done both of them at the same time.
But you're working.
Day. But it wasn't possible. I tried it. It wasn't possible. It didn't work out. Like both of them were half. I was doing both in half.
Yeah.
But none of them would work out.
Sure.
So I made a decision. In the summer, I said, I'm gonna work on this idea and this project until end of year. This is my number one priority now. Like I had to choose the number one priority, right? Between these two, I chose the project because I knew I could complete it in a shorter period of time, right? So I made that decision. I said, the deadline for this project is end of year, end of 2023, and I can postpone working out
Yes.
until the end of year.
Okay.
I may go a little bit out of it.
Sure.
I'm not too fit, but not as I wanted, right?
Yeah.
And then after this project is complete, I will definitely start that like the workout would become my first priority, and it actually happened. So it was end of November, like no, early December.
Mm-hmm.
I think December 8th to be like accurate. December 8th, I launched my side project. I completed everything, like the MVP, not everything,
Sure,
but
yeah.
the MVP,
The most important detail.
the most important detail. So, and I had to work on it like 3 to 5 hours a day.
Plus work.
Plus
Plus
work,
the wife.
plus the wife and everything. So, but on December 8th, I completed it. And after a week, December 15th, so it's not even, I started working out before that, but it wasn't really like,
Yeah. It
it's
wasn't
consistent.
consistent.
It wasn't
Yes,
consistent, right? And now, like, almost December 15th, I started this, like, the workout now, like, fit body is the number one priority.
Good for you. Good.
And
Seriously.
that's why I was late today, so sorry.
No, don't be sorry. And it's actually a smart way you did that, because what I think would be worse would be to get a fit body, stop going, lose it, and then have to rebuild it again.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. Now that I have that project ready, I can just work on it. Like it still needs some work, but not as much as before. So I can work still on it like 1-2 hours a day, if needed.
Yes.
Sometimes I don't even work on it, like some days. So I'm really happy with the decision I made, to be honest. And I think this might be one of the things that you realize when you get closer to 40, that you learn some of the stuff that you wish you would have learned like before.
Yeah.
But I think what I learned from 2023 and all of the decisions that I made is that, and this is basically what all of the like personal development books say. If you want to get something done, the most important factor is consistency. So, and things don't happen overnight.
Yes.
You just need to be committed. You just need to work on it.
Yes.
And you just need to give it time, right? I like a couple of times before I was actually doing workouts, but like every time I started doing that, I would go for like 2 weeks, max 1 month, and then I think I would just stop because I don't have any progress. But you're not supposed to see any progress in a month. It takes months at least.
It takes like 3 months to start to see progress.
Exactly.
Like,
Exactly. As I mentioned, like I started working out before December, but like it's been just almost a month or a month and a half since I started working on really seriously, like 4 days a week. And just after a month, I'm seeing a progress. But I have a goal. I have a buddy who knows how to actually work out in gym, and how to split the days.
And was this something that knowledge that you lacked, like how to split?
I definitely lack that knowledge.
Yes.
I definitely lack that knowledge. So, but it's working. I'm happy with the result. I do it in Northwind.
Okay. Because I've been doing the pull-ups and the push-ups. So my routine. I've been sick this week. I'm just recovering.
Really? God.
I had a cold, but not like COVID, not the flu. Just really like 1 or 2 days on the bed, and then I'm still sluggish. But before then, it was swim in the morning for. It's not a lot. It's like 10 minutes in the ocean, but the ocean's cold, right?
It's a lot.
So
it's a lot.
So it's cold therapy plus the ocean, swimming, and then I would come home and I would do push-ups. Like I would try to do like at least 50 push-ups, pull-ups, and chin-ups.
It's great.
And then I would go do yoga and like that. So like I've noticed a difference in my body. Like
it's a big difference. Yeah, it makes a big difference. That's my routine in the morning actually is pretty much similar.
Yeah.
It just doesn't have the cold plunge.
Sure.
Because I don't have I'm not close to the ocean. So
Yes.
you are, and I'm jealous about it. I'm jealous. But yeah, I usually do some push-ups and some like just really light workouts. In the morning to just start the day, warm up the body and everything. Because I realized when I do this in the morning, I'm warmer during the whole day.
Yeah, like your body is warm. Yes.
My body is much warmer.
Yes.
When I don't do anything and I start working right away when I wake up, I'm cold all day.
Yes.
I have to wear clothes and everything. It's just and because I'm working from home, it is just uncomfortable, to be honest. You are home, but you have to wear all the clothes.
I have the same experience.
Yeah.
I know 100%.
Yeah. So yeah, it's been pretty good.
Well, good for you.
Happy.
I want to start going to the gym because I want to do more. I want to get more fit.
Yep.
So I was asking like North Van, was that like
it's North Van.
if it was closer, I'd go out. I'd go with you guys every day. Like, but
I think at this point I'm not gonna break the habit and just because like one of the reasons that we are doing it every day is just it's pretty close to my home.
Yeah,
right? So it's convenient.
Yes.
But I think when you get that habit, and like basically the idea is that at some point, you are getting to the point that you cannot skip a workout day because it's a habit.
Yeah.
Right. My goal is to get to that point, and when you are at that point, I think it's much easier for you to go even farther.
Yes.
To do the workout.
Yes.
Right. So it doesn't have to be like 5 minutes to your home to be able to do it every day. You would probably go even like 20 minutes, half an hour.
I see what you're saying.
Because you just want to do it, right?
Yeah.
This is at least my idea. I don't have that experience. But this is what I've learned from reading like personal development books, all of them. But they all say the exact same. Like if you've read The Atomic Habits.
I haven't, no.
This is a great book. I highly recommend it. This is nice because it's actually what you are doing. And it all starts with recommending that just do one push-up every day.
One push-up.
Just one push-up. And the idea is that this is not... the reason is like one push-up wouldn't do anything for you.
No.
But if you do one push-up, you are not going to stop. You would go to 10.
Yeah, you'll go till you can't do it.
And you would go higher and higher and higher.
Yes.
But if you don't have time, if you don't have the mood, just do that one push-up. That one push-up would make a habit in the long term. And it's just going to stick to you.
Yes.
And then you just, like, at some point, you realize that you just do it for no reason, right? Now you need a reason to do it. But at some point, you don't need a reason anymore.
It's just...
You just do it. It's just there. It's part of your life, right?
Yes.
So this is the interesting part about Atomic Habit. And I actually tried it, and it works. It actually works perfectly. And that's one of the reasons that I'm doing that, like a couple of push-ups and the warm-up every morning, because I want to have that habit, and then it would encourage me to actually also go do the gym workout in the evening. So
I agree on this, because if I skip the cold plunge, the likelihood I'll skip other things increases. But if I do the cold plunge, like, well, I did this, and like that's like the most sucky part of my day, right? like I literally some days, most days I don't want to do it, you know.
Yeah.
But I force myself to do it, And then like, oh, that like I'm like, well, I did the dirty cold plunge that was hard, but now I can do the other thing of that. Oh, that's easy, like doing a yoga practice. Well,
Yeah.
that's no big deal.
Yeah, exactly. This is eating your frog, right? Have you
Yes.
heard of that?
No, what's eating your frog?
Like it says, that's another term. I think I don't remember the book, but it says, if the hardest part of your day is to eat a frog, eat it the first thing in the morning. Because if you do the hardest thing like if you do the hardest thing, everything else is just easier, right? And if you have to eat 2 frogs in a day, eat the bigger one first.
Because then the second
Because the second one would be easier.
that's a definite thing, for sure.
Yeah, exactly. And you know about the polar bear swim, right? Did you do it?
I skipped. I was up too late.
Okay,
but I felt guilty for this.
This is the whole idea of the polar bear swim that's happening in Vancouver, right? So for
that's why you do it the first of the year.
Exactly. That's the whole point. You do the hardest thing that you can imagine, right? It's not the hardest thing, but hardest thing that you have in your mind. The first day of the year, then the end of the year would be just easy for you.
Yeah.
Because you already did the hardest part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I definitely agree on this. Like even like when I'm swimming in that water, like your brain, it's like, well, I did 1 lap. I don't have to do a second lap, you know, like, but no, I need to, because I typically do 3 laps. I swim out there, I swim back, I swim out there, I swim back. I do that 3 times.
Yeah.
And then, like, I'm like, oh, I did it twice, but like, no, like, you know, like, I noticed like, for instance, the last lap when I go out there, right? I'm like, oh, like coming back's easy because I already did like the hard part.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Coming back's easy. Yeah. You already did the hard one.
Exactly. Cool,
man. Well, I'm happy that you're focused on your health because as we age, as you know, like
I know.
Strength's a big one.
I'm definitely feeling it.
Me too. I'm feeling it too. I'm more tired than I used to be, for sure. But my diet this year, have you ever tried like I want to try a carnivore diet for 1 month.
What is it, diet?
Carnivore.
What is that?
Where you eat nothing but meat, eggs, and fish.
For just protein?
Yeah, just for a month.
Wow.
It's the biggest thing it's supposed to do is because you're cutting out all the other crap, right? Like you're cutting out like the carbs and the sugars and everything else. If you only eat that, then you'll feel like people say you feel fantastic. I don't know if this is a thing or not, but like I'll try it for a month.
Yeah, for sure. Why not? There are other things I've heard, and I haven't still like decided to actually do any of them. Any of those because like I need to do some research first to see actually. Another thing is this 72 hours fasting. Another one is intermittent fasting.
I've done a little intermittent fasting. I started doing this where I try to eat before 6, and then I will typically eat the next day around like 10 or 11. Right. Because like I'll do work in the morning, I do swim in the morning, right? And I try not to eat before all that.
Yeah. So I think it's you have 6 to 8 hours in a day to eat everything you want.
Yeah.
Not everything you want.
Yes.
You need to eat healthy, but I mean, what you need to eat in a day.
Yes.
And then the rest of the day you are fasting. But I'm not sure. How was it?
Yeah. Honestly, it's pretty good as long as I get enough food, right? And like sometimes I'll snack in between, right? But like one thing I noticed is when you compress it like that, you typically can only have enough time for 2 meals.
Yeah.
Right? And then so I eat bigger meals, but I sleep better. Like eating before 6, I sleep a lot better, right? And then typically your workout goes better the next morning because you're not, you're empty, you're not bloated, right? Sometimes I'll eat like just like a banana like before the workout to like just give me a little like sugar, a little energy. But I think it's good. Like honestly, I feel pretty good doing this.
Cool.
And then it's like when you're walking home, you're like I'm not starving. This is an interesting thing. Like you get in this routine, and you're like your hunger signal kind of turns off. But when you're walking home, you're kind of excited. You're like I walk home and in my head I'm like, I'm breaking the fast. I'm about and then I plan what I'm going to eat because you're excited, right?
Yeah.
So that's kind of cool.
This is basically like the idea. I'm not sure where this like the idea comes from, at least in West, but in Muslim countries they already have this idea, right? And they do it every year for a month.
Yeah.
Do
you do this in Iran?
I used to do it in Iran. Yeah. It's called like in the month of Ramadan. Ramadan. What's like it's called here, but what they do here is actually it depends on like this season, but usually you stop eating at sunrise, and then you start eating at sunset. Right.
So you fast
don't
during the
eat,
day.
You fast during the day. So based on the season, it might like be different hours.
Sure.
Than you eat and not. But that's like Muslim people do it every year for a month. And interestingly, when I used to do it, usually the first few days it's difficult. But then when you pass those first few days, it just gets much easier. And as you mentioned, even at sunset, when you want to eat something, you are not starving. So you can, and you shouldn't actually start eating hard because even if you are starving, you need to start like slow with some warm water and like some small snacks, and then start eating the actual meal.
This is something maybe I should work on too, is slow, like not eating so much up front. Like that's something I'll try.
Yeah. Because your stomach is not ready, right?
Yeah,
because it's not been working for a couple of hours, right? So it's not ready for a huge meal. So you need to warm up.
We'll warm it up.
Warm up for the stomach.
Okay, preheat the oven before I put in the turkey.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll try this one. I'll let you know how this one goes for sure.
Yeah, that's cool. But as I mentioned, one thing I learned is about all of this, working out, fasting, diet, everything, even like side projects, the consistency is the lesson I learned in 2023, I guess.
Consistency is a big one.
It's a big one.
I've been doing yoga almost every day for like 2-3 years now, and I definitely say now like it's not like a question if I'm gonna do it. It's just like it's an automatic, right?
Exactly.
The only time like I'll take a break is like when I can tell like my muscles themselves are just they need a break, right? But then on those days, what I'll try to do is like, okay, like I'll still do yoga, but I'll take like a real slow class, like what we'll call my yen class, right? And then like I'll still go, but like this my rest day is doing a light one.
Yeah. I did yen actually. It was really slow and it's really relaxing. Actually,
it's very relaxing,
especially if you do it at night.
Yes, before
bed. I think you might get actually better sleep.
I think so.
That's nice. Awesome.
So, any other lessons from 2023 that you've learned?
This was I think the biggest one. Nothing particularly like big to mention. Other than that, this was a big lesson for me, to be honest. So, and everything is probably just under the shadow. So I think it's not always one thing. it's always a mix of everything, right? You need to do the things, you need to do it at least a little right,
Yeah.
or you find the right way to do it, and then the consistency comes in place when you do that stuff. But if you consistently don't do anything,
Yeah.
that's another kind of consistency that you can have, right?
Yes.
So it's always a mix of everything. But for me, the biggest one was to learn that just give it some time. Just give the thing that you are doing some time, whatever it is, whatever it is.
Yeah, I agree on this. Like, it's like anything. If you want to get good at something, it takes practice. And the only way that you have a lot of practice is consistency.
Exactly. And this is one of the things that I always discuss to my wife, Mona, that because like I always wanted to learn an instrument, right? Specifically piano. So, and I tried that. I learned a little bit of piano. And then when you are learning something, you're always comparing yourself to the masters of that thing, whatever it is, right?
Yes.
So you watch a YouTube video of someone's playing piano perfectly, really nice, and you say, if I can play that, that would be great. That would be the end of piano learning for me, right?
Yeah.
But then, this is something I always say to Mona. Some of these things, even if you are consistent, some of them just need more time, like a lot more time, right? Not a lot, not just like, for example, I said to her, like, imagine there is a master piano player, and you want to teach them how to code. Can they learn to like code by doing it, like by learning how to code half an hour a day?
No.
How long does that take?
No.
Like, I am not a master in coding and programming, but I'm not bad either, right?
Yes.
So, but the position that I have in coding, in programming, it's from all these years that this has been my job, right? I've been doing it at least 8 hours a day.
Yeah, at least
8 hours a day, right? So if I've been learning piano 8 hours a day because it's my job, I'm gonna be a good piano player, a decent piano player, right?
Of course, yeah.
That's exactly it is. Like, some things are harder, some things are easier. Some things need like 3 months, some things need 3 years. And a good calculation, a good expectation of whatever you're doing is probably a good start for everything. Like, I'm starting doing this. This is my expectation. It should be set correctly. If it's not the right expectation, I'm not gonna meet it, right?
Sure.
So, this is actually something that I've always realized. To start something when I know I can be committed to whatever it is.
Yeah.
Right. And I've also learned, while I'm an employee and I'm doing 8 hours work at least a day, 9 hours work a day, I can probably only do one more thing.
Yes.
One more extra thing.
Yes.
Right.
If you have like a family.
Exactly.
Yeah, like
you have a family, and then you want
friends.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You can't just stop social life, and you can't stop visiting your family.
No.
You can't, and all of those are part of your life, and you want to have all those, and you want to do one extra. People usually always want to do one extra thing for them.
Yeah.
Like, and that's their hobby, right?
Sure.
It can be their hobby. It can be workout. It can be a side project. Whatever it is, right?
Sure.
At least for me, like, I know everybody has a different capacity, right? For me, I realize that I probably can only do one primary thing.
If you want to do it well.
If you want to do it well.
Yeah. And I know you like to do things well.
Yeah, exactly. I noted. I want actually to do things well, because I'm a perfectionist, and that's another thing probably I need to work on to not be that perfectionist.
It's hard.
It's
Like
hard.
and in my jobs sometimes like when you recognize that like me, I'm in this phase where I care less about the job now because I'm trying to do other things, right? But I have even if I'm not spending a lot of time on it, like I have a problem with accepting less than perfection, right? Because I'm like, oh well, if I'm going to do it, then I want to do it well, you know, like
Exactly.
because you know this feeling like if you're gonna check in code, but like you know when you're looking at the code when there's a lot of optimizations that you could do, or like it looks like you were lazy, or like it's a reflection on you, and you're like like I can't check it in like this, like it has to be a little better, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then that little bit is just gonna take time.
Yeah.
And that has with some opportunity costs, right?
Yes.
And I actually read another book about this. That was a good one
Yeah.
as well, and it's called How to Be Imperfectionist. And it talks exactly about this.
Yeah.
That perfectionism is a big problem.
Yes.
And we usually, when we do things perfectly, we love it,
Yeah.
right? But we don't know that how many things we don't do because we don't want to be perfectionists, right?
But like because being in other areas,
In other areas,
of
whatever,
your life. Yeah.
whatever,
Yeah,
whatever.
Sure.
Uh,
Because I'm a perfectionist here. If I spend 2 hours a day to make the perfect cup of coffee, then I'm taking time away from other things like
exactly.
That makes sense.
Yeah. And it talks about exactly this. Most of the things can be done, and I actually tried this in my life, in many things, especially my work.
Yeah.
So many things can be done imperfectly, but not everything.
Yes.
To be honest, like some of the things, at least, maybe I know I'm still a perfectionist, but some things in my idea has to be done perfectly.
Of course. And like I know for me it's like if you create like a new like project at work, or like a new something, right? Like anytime that someone touches that, you're like no, like it has to be done perfectly, right? Because it's your baby. It's almost like your baby.
Exactly.
But like it's a similar concept to there's a book that I read like 10 years ago. It's a famous book. It's called How Not to Give a Fuck.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Have you read that?
I think I read that.
Yes.
I think I read that. At least I know I started that. I'm not sure if I finished that or not.
But the in summary, like the whole purpose of the book was saying that you have to recognize things not to care about, so that you can actually care about the things that are important.
Exactly.
But you have to mentally decide, like, okay, this thing I don't care about. So if someone yells at me, or like whatever your priority is, prioritize, and then don't care about the things that you don't want to care about.
Yeah. Regarding that, I actually, one of the things I learned, I don't know, to be honest, where I learned that. It might be just age. It might be just experience. But I know, like I had a couple of like psychology courses before, like a couple years ago, and this is one of the things that I learned. And it's not an easy thing to do, but the idea is to try to control your mind instead of allowing your mind to control you.
Instead of letting your mind,
The reason is that, like, this is exactly this is related to what you just mentioned, to not give a fuck about things. Why do we give a fuck about things? Because it's in here. right? It's in my mind, right? It's in my mind. And when it starts thinking and giving fuck about things,
Sure.
it basically it's directing everything in your body through that thing, that a specific thing, right? That you are thinking about. But the idea is that imagine, like, it's probably not good for audio listeners, but this is good. Imagine this is you, right?
Mm-hmm.
And imagine this is your brain.
So you've taken 2 cups. So for the listeners, you have 1 cup that's close to the other cup,
Exactly.
but they're far away.
They are far away. The cup to my right is your brain,
Mm-hmm.
which is normally controlling your body and your soul, your everything, right? This is the responsibility of the brain, right?
Yes.
But the problem is that it goes sideways so many times. Most of the times it goes sideways, and it gives fuck about things that are not important.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So, and it's usually how brain and mind in most people work, basically everyone, right? Until you learn it, that you need to have a third person, which is this third mug, right?
Yes. So it's a jar. So
it's a jar.
And now there's 3 cups, 3 jars on the table, whatever.
Yeah, exactly. The third one is one that is handling this one, is actually managing this one. So this one says to the brain, to the mind,
no,
that this is important. Think about this. Command the body to do this, because this is more important than that.
Yes.
This is the hard part.
Yes.
To get to a point to be able to actually control your mind.
Yes.
Because your mind can do, like, it can give you enough power to do a lot of things. Enough power to your body to do a lot of things, right?
Sure.
Because this is not doing anything itself. It's just commanding. It's just commander, right? So if you can give commander a command, that's when things get really interesting.
Yeah.
Right? Because you can control your life, you can control all your time.
And that's mental discipline.
That's a mental discipline.
So,
and it's not easy to do. It's not easy.
Have you done it well?
I've done it.
Okay.
I've done it. And I'm not even now, I do it a lot of times.
Yeah.
But I'm not able to do it all the time.
Yeah.
And that's something, and it needs practice.
Yes.
And the most important thing it needs, it's awareness. You need to be aware that now that this is happening, where is this happening? Is this in your body? Is this in your brain? And if you can identify that, then you can actually also change that. But you need to be aware. If you are not aware,
yes,
this is just like if you are just drinking the water, you usually don't think about it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's just an automatic thing that's happening. Your brain commands your hand to pick up the cup and then just drink the water, right? This is all happening automatically.
Yes.
But you can start from there to see exactly which part is happening where.
Yes.
Like the command to that you are thirsty is happening in your brain, right?
Yes.
And then the command that says pick up that cup, still, like, it comes from your brain, but your hand is the actual thing that's doing the work.
Yes.
Right? So you can actually control the mind.
Yes.
And it's gonna make a huge difference. I can promise. It's a big thing.
Oh, for sure. Like I even recognize this in myself sometimes. Like sweets and getting distracted with things. So like I'll be somewhere and I'll be like, oh, like that sounds good to have, and I should be like, no, but then it's this battle in my head, like should I not?
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, if I was really good every time, I could just like, no, you're not. I'm controlling you,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And tell the brain no, right?
Exactly.
And like same like if you get distracted, like if you're on your phone, right, and like you start scrolling or looking at something, like some in the back of your head, like sometimes like this is a waste of time,
Yeah.
right? But like it's like you're saying no, control your brain. No, don't look at this anymore.
Exactly.
Turn this off, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So everybody needs to be 3% inside,
Yes.
right?
I never thought of it as the third person. That's an interesting.
That's the third person. At least it's what I imagine.
Yeah, like
for anyone can be different.
it's
thing,
a construct, right?
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
you're making this thing to okay. I'll think of this more. Like when I say I think of this, I'll try to incorporate that logic in my life more. Like to control. Yes. It's almost like in Latin. There's I forget the phrase, but there's a phrase for know thyself, right?
Know
thyself.
Know thyself.
Yeah. So
Okay.
so know yourself, right?
Yeah.
That's that's similar, right? Like knowing who you are encompasses being able to control who you are.
This that I just mentioned, and I said
Yeah.
it was from a psychology class, a course that I took.
Yeah.
It was the name of that class was this.
Was know thyself?
Know yourself.
Ah.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Interesting.
So, pretty similar idea.
Pretty similar idea. Yeah.
Exactly. It was actually a 3 days workshop, and that we had to actually go and give everything, our phone, like everything basically.
Yeah.
We could have just have our clothes,
Yeah.
and then go to the class for the whole day, and then we go to this workshop for 3 days.
For 3 days.
3 days.
Wow.
And it was just all like concepts, this kind of concept, and then trying them out.
Is this where you learned this concept here?
Exactly.
Okay, and then you've that's a good thing to learn. So you learned this like when you in your 20s?
It was exactly my late 20s actually.
That's a really good thing to learn.
Yeah.
Like they should teach this stuff in high school. Like imagine if you had known some of these concepts when you were 15 years old. Like if you were told constantly, like as a kid from your parents or your teachers or whoever, right? Like you need to learn to control your mind.
Exactly. These are good stuff to actually teach to kids.
Yes. Damn. That's a good lesson.
Cool.
So, there's this side project that you're working on.
Oh,
yes.
yeah.
So it's the first iteration's out, the MVP's out. Tell us about what this is, Ehsan. Like, I know what this is, but the audience doesn't.
Yeah. I'm actually proud of it.
Mm-hmm.
And so first, it's a VPN.
Yes.
It's a VPN project.
Yes.
It's called Guard VPN.
Guard.
VPN.
G-A-U-R-D?
Yeah. G-U-A-R-D.
G-U-A-R-D.
Yeah. superguardvpn.com.
.com.
So, and I'm actually really proud of it for a couple of reasons. I've been in tech for like almost 15-20 years.
Mm-hmm.
And I've always had side projects.
Yes.
In my entire career, right? This is something I just couldn't stop doing.
Sure.
Right? But I've never completed a project like this. This is actually like a fully working MVP, and it's a good MVP.
Yeah.
And it's completely that was related to that perfectionist talk that we had, discussion that we had. For me, this is a perfect first version of that project, and it had to be done perfect. This is one of the things that I mentioned.
Yeah.
Some things need to be done perfectly,
Yeah.
and this was one of them. And as I mentioned, I started this in about like April, May
Yeah.
2023, and I actually released it in December.
Mm-hmm.
My initial plan was to release it in September, but those perfectionist stuff
Sure.
and doing thing perfectly actually added another almost 3 months to it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's up now. I'm happy. I'm proud. And another reason, uh, one of the reasons I think I never completed another project is that exactly one of the reasons is the consistency, because I always have these ideas of doing these side projects, and I usually get super excited about them.
Yeah.
Right? Oh my God, this is a great idea. Let's do it. And then I start doing it like really heavily for working on it, like for a month.
Mm-hmm.
And then I get another idea. I say, oh no, this idea is better. Let's
Yeah.
go work on that idea.
Yeah.
And then
I have the same type of brain.
yeah, exactly. And then I go and like if you see my GitHub account, like I don't know how many projects you can find there. All of them are incomplete.
Except for this one.
Except for this one. But I think there is also another reason to this that made me complete this project.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the purpose. I think one of the reasons that I never completed a project was that those were just like instant ideas at the time that I thought they might work or not, right? And one of the another reason is that like I'm always interested and I always get excited about doing like tech things, right? To create products and everything, right? But all of those didn't have a back-end purpose, didn't have a purpose to back it, right? So, but this one had a purpose, and it even didn't start. It didn't even start with just, okay, I have this idea of creating a VPN company. Let's do it. But you can't have this idea because like there are so many VPNs, right?
Yes.
So it's not a brand new idea, but there was a purpose behind it, and the purpose was to actually help people in Iran, in my country, to be able to bypass filtering, right, in Iran. So I think we talked about all the situation that was happening in Iran in our previous episode. And just for people who might not know, is that like there are countries, including Iran, my country, that internet is not as open as we have here.
Sure.
Right? So basically you cannot communicate with the world. Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. Everything is blocked.
Lucy, right, had the same experience in China, right? She went to China and nothing worked. She couldn't even use the Airbnb app to book people in her Airbnb.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Everything is just blocked.
Yes.
And even me, my family is there, and I want to talk to them, and I want to have like video calls with them. And it's not easy for them to have a simple video call.
Yeah.
Right? Because WhatsApp is also filtered, and FaceTime, and Telegram, and whatever tools.
Is it all blocked there?
They're all blocked.
Wow.
They're all blocked. And to be able to use them, you need a VPN. So basically, almost everyone in Iran and in other countries that internet is blocked have to use VPN. To use all of these tools that we are using every day without any VPN, right? So, and after that, like last year's uprising in Iran, those blockings even got harder, right? And because
they're trying to control the
they're
narrative.
trying to control everything, right? And they don't want the news to and the videos from protests that are happening in the street to go outside Iran, to go to outside Iran, right? And they make it even hard. They made it even harder and harder. So now there aren't like many VPNs that work in Iran. So in here, me and I know hundreds of other people are working on exact same thing to provide VPN to their families and their friends and like any community that they can reach, right? So we are here, we people that are outside Iran have access to services, to cloud services, and also are able to do some tech work, right? So all we were doing was to actually provide VPN to people in Iran, at least to our family and friends. And then I also, during past year, I also worked with a couple of other teams, actual like teams that are working every day to create some kind of VPN that works in Iran. Because whatever we do, whatever we create,
it's going to get blocked.
It's going to get blocked. It's going to just work for a couple of days.
Sure.
At best, like a couple of weeks. And it's just going to get blocked.
Do they block like all AWS IPs?
No, they don't do all AWS IPs, but as soon as they identify a VPN server, they just block it.
Like what if it's through CloudFront or something, like because like CloudFront has lots of IPs, right?
They just like, sometimes they block a range of IPs. It just depends on the algorithm, right?
So like if multiple services, so I guess this is my question. If they have multiple services and like one of those like they're both using the same IP address, right? But they're different services, and like one of them is VPN, they might block both, right? Like
exactly.
I see.
That's exactly one of the ways that we are bypassing the filtering. So there is a protocol that we are using. It's called V2Ray, and it has the exact same feature that you just mentioned. So it's basically a VPN server. But if you browse that IP using HTTPS, you are gonna get redirected to like Wikipedia, for example, to a server, to a website that's not blocked. To Google, for example, right?
Is it any website that says you want?
Any website that you want. You can redirect to any website that you want.
So on 443, you just redirect to some random
website. So you hide the IP. You hide the IP of the VPN server to not be easily at least recognizable.
I see.
But when the traffic of that VPN goes high, then it's gonna get suspicious. And then it's gonna get recognized.
So I mentioned this to you earlier, and I wanted to have this conversation with you, right? Because you might be able to use some services, and more than just AWS, to give you lots of IPs on the front end, but on the back end, you would like the IP, like, so think of it like this: the client, when it connects to the front end server, right? That client has an IP, or that server that's listening has an IP. But then when the client connects and authenticates and all this from the client's machine, it gets a back end server, right? And that's the IP that all the traffic comes to. Like if you go to another website, it all thinks it's coming from this back end IP, but you could put CloudFront in front of it, or you could even put like one of those accelerator services in front. And so like clients from all over the world would get different IPs on the front end that would then route to the same back end server, but that back end server IP is hidden from the
government.
From the government. And then it's just a matter of just constantly rotating those IPs.
Exactly.
Like, but that's the rotating's hard, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the thing is that these ideas
Yeah.
are all there
Yes.
in VPN protocols that are actually
Sure.
created for
Okay.
countries with blocked internet,
Yes.
right? With filterings. The thing is that the tool that's blocking internet, that's filtering internet, that also gets like improved with all these ideas, right?
Yeah.
So for exact that purpose,
Yeah.
they created another algorithm.
Uh-huh.
It's called DPI,
Yeah.
Deep Packet Inspection,
Mm.
right? So they actually inspect your packet to see what's in it, and
Yeah.
and usually packets that are going to a VPN server
Yeah.
is different than packets that are usually you're just browsing a VPN.
Can the government decrypt it, or can they just see it's a VPN packet?
They cannot decrypt it when you're using, and that's one of the best thing about VPNs, right? They cannot decrypt it.
Yes.
But they can find a pattern in the size of packet and like like the bandwidth and everything that goes to the server. From those, they can have like an algorithm to identify a VPN server.
Yeah.
And that's exactly the one of the reasons that I created this.
Yeah.
Because in the past year, I tried like so many different protocols, PVPN protocols, to just provide VPN to my family and friends, right? Then I found most of them get blocked. Yeah. And then I found a really good one that's actually working really nicely. Most of the time it's working. At least it's been working for more than 6 months now, which is a lot for a VPN server. And then I went and read about the protocol and everything. And it's really nicely designed that makes it very difficult for the government to identify it. And then I got I got the idea there. I was trying all the protocols, changing servers, changing IPs, everything. And I worked with a couple of teams that are providing VPN. And they have to like give you an address, a URL, a code, something that you need to install to like to always change your VPN. Finally find something. And that's really
inconvenient for the user.
That's not easy. Like you just have to see, okay, this VPN is not working, and sometimes it works with their Wi-Fi, but it doesn't work with their like cell phone, with their LTE, right? And then I realized that the primary problem we are facing here to providing VPN is that we don't have enough resources. That's the thing. And that resources are either like financial and even like people, right?
Yes.
And human resources, basically. For example, when this started last year, when this uprising started last year, ExpressVPN worked for the first few weeks, first few months, I think. I don't remember exactly. But then they blocked all ExpressVPN protocol IPs, right? So I know that ExpressVPN can do something for it, but they don't want to, right? Because they don't have an actual customer in Iran. Because in Iran, people can't pay with credit card to buy VPN server, right? So the same happened to NordVPN, which are like two biggest players in VPN market, right? But none of them tried to do anything. One, they don't care. Two, they don't have any actual customers there. And they probably don't want to be involved with politics and everything, right? And then I got the idea there that whatever I'm doing, I'm creating all these servers, IPs and everything. if I can automate it, I can probably make it to like turn it to a company, to a VPN company, similar to other VPN companies that is selling VPN, right?
Yeah.
Not to Iran, here, in Canada, in US, Europe, right? And then at some point, if this company grows, if this company sells enough VPN and have enough users, at some point it's gonna have thousands of servers around the world, right? This is something that's gonna happen. ExpressVPN probably has thousands of servers. NordVPN the same. And then when you have those numbers of servers all around the world, then it's time to create a protocol to use all these servers to actually work, to create a VPN that can work in Iran. Right?
Yeah. And then as you're designing everything, like all the decisions you make, should we design it this way? Well, we need to make it like, because the eventual goal is to provide VPN.
Exactly. Just imagine you already have, like, as I mentioned, I was creating like 2-3 servers for my friends and family, and I was paying like $20 a month, for example. I could pay probably more, but there is a limit to my resources. Right. And I was working with a team that was providing VPN servers. They also had limited resources.
Sure.
Because they have to pay for the whole server just for nothing. Right? There is no profit to it. It's basically non-profit, right? But unfortunately, non-profit is amazing. But as long as you have some support.
Right?
But for VPN, there is no support, at least not that I know, right? So if there's a company that is just as other companies selling VPN to customers here, it has thousands. It's gonna have thousands of servers, and then at some point can use a capacity of those servers to actually provide VPN to countries that have filtering and block internet. And the way I designed it, like there are a couple of things I actually considered from the first day, because it was, as I mentioned, this was the purpose, right?
Yes.
The purpose of this providing VPN was something that was stuck with me, and I said, yeah, if I can make it, I'm gonna complete a side project. I'm gonna create a company from it, and I might be able at some point to provide VPN to Iran and maybe even other countries.
For sure.
Right? But then when I have thousands of servers and they are already paid by my customers, right? The cost of those servers are already supported. I can use those servers.
Yeah. Okay. And you can use the resources. Like, by resources, I mean like, let's say you have 100 engineers.
Yeah.
You can say, well, 20 of them or 5 of them, you're like, hey, you're dedicated to figuring out how we can provide internet or VPN to those countries.
Exactly. And we might even, my idea for future is that we need a new protocol, probably a whole brand new protocol. It's not going to be a brand new protocol, but it needs to be a protocol on top of current protocol that I'm using to actually be able to do something for it. Because with just creating like 10 servers, 100 servers, with this team, that team, they are not organized, right?
Yes.
And they don't have enough time. They don't have enough resources. It's gonna get disconnected.
Almost get like a BitTorrent kind of thing.
Kinda. That's kind of my idea.
Peer to peer, because I've had this idea too of like using your phone like people on Iran, they have iPhones or whatever, right?
Mhm.
Like if they loaded an app on there that like through Bluetooth or wireless, right, where they could communicate, like you
Exactly.
can make your own network somehow, or like maybe you work like you can provide I don't know, like a radio signal or
Mhm.
something like from like a tower or something over Iran,
Yeah.
like the long-term solution can be very big.
Exactly.
But like I like your idea of let me make a company that makes money, and then like the goal, the profitability of the company can be to do this thing.
Yeah. Why not?
Yeah.
Exactly. The reason is at some point I got tired. To be honest, I got tired
Yeah.
of creating servers,
Yeah.
of creating like new IPs and everything. And the way I designed it is that I can instantly, like in 5 minutes, change all the IPs
Yeah.
in the whole fleet.
And then regions too and everything. Yeah.
Everything. Like, okay, you block my IPs. In 5 minutes, 5 minutes
Yep.
later, I have thousands of new IPs.
Thousands.
Thousands of new IPs.
Are you
And then what they're gonna do? Like block the whole
And-
internet.
yeah.
Block, like they can. They might do it.
All
They
of
might do it.
AWS. Yeah.
They
yeah.
might do it actually
Yeah.
at some point. But still,
But
it's-
then that's a new problem, right? Like you
that's
know,
no
like,
problem. At that point, you have
Yeah.
enough resources
Yeah.
to deal with those problems.
I think your point here that you made earlier, which is that all the time that you're investing on figuring out how to break through, block it, or to get internet access to those folks, the government spending equal or more money trying to constantly updating themselves. So it's going to be a constant game. Like
exactly.
no matter what you do, you will always need people working
Exactly.
to
That's the thing. You need resources,
yes.
and no one other than people who care
Yeah.
are going to provide those resources, right?
Yes.
You need to have a purpose, right?
Yes.
You can't ask Elon Musk to like
Sure.
give me a couple $1 million because I want to create a VPN company for Iran, for example.
But I'll tell you what, like don't discount on like getting him to invest in you, like or like someone like that, like if they see like that you've gone through all the effort and like
you need to get to that point.
yeah,
first.
like and you get investors or like
Yeah. Exactly. But you need, I mean,
Yes.
you need to have something, right?
yes,
They're not
exactly.
gonna tell you like, okay, here is
Yeah.
$100 million.
Yes.
Go build a company. Like,
Yeah.
you need to say at least an MVP.
Sure.
Okay, this is working, but I have resource problem.
Or this is working, and then you can say, so like what one thing I wouldn't say is a resource thing. I'd say, okay, this is where we're at. Like we spent a year and a half or whatever, and we made this thing. But now here's the list of what we need to do next, right? We need to blah blah blah. And so like we need money to develop these features, right? Like whether it's a new protocol or like blah 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 or I think this is a great are you going to incorporate this like at some point or
It's already actually incorporated. So, and
did you
I'm
set it
gonna-
up like as a nonprofit kind of?
No,
for
this is
tax?
not nonprofit because it's not not nonprofit.
Yeah.
At least not now.
Sure.
Right. As I mentioned, I
Yeah.
need
Yeah,
this company to make money
sure.
for itself.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
It needs to at least support all the resources, all the cloud services that it's using.
Yes.
It needs to be able to support all the like human resources
Yes.
that's probably needed for growth. And then everything, like at some point, this company is gonna be profitable,
Yes.
right? At least I couldn't get enough support for nonprofit, right? So it needs to be actually a corporation,
Mm-hmm.
get some profit, and
I
then
see.
use that profit at some point for that
Yeah.
purpose.
Eventually, you could even maybe structure it kind of like the OpenAI model.
Exactly.
Yeah, like-
I had that idea as well.
Yeah, like
but it's too soon for that.
Yeah, it's a very complicated corporate structure,
Yeah.
right? Like you don't need to do that until you have paying customers. Do you have a paying customer yet?
I do, but all of them are my friends for now.
Ah,
So it's just been almost a month that I launched it.
Yes.
But I recommend everyone to actually take a look and see, at least do some research to see what are the benefits of a VPN, even here, even in Canada, even the US, in Europe.
So I thought about it, but like from like my perspective, from like I don't see what, like, if I torrent something, right, like, luckily we live in Canada, and you can't like, if you download illegal copyrighted stuff from the US, you can't get prosecuted. So like, what would be the benefit of me, like, me doing it? Like, I don't have to worry about someone really sniffing my network, or like, I don't really care if the service provider knows what I'm looking at. So what is the benefit from, like, me, Andy? I'm not really doing anything that I really need VPN for.
Yeah. There are, you already know most of them, but there are many reasons that people probably can, or even sometimes should, use VPN.
Yes.
And everyone's needs are different.
Sure.
Right? Someone might just use it to access like content that are blocked.
Okay.
For example, Netflix, right?
Or
Netflix in US has different content, right?
Google
or Google Bard.
Google
For
Bard.
example, that's a big one. That's exactly one of the reasons I'm using my VPN now. I'm a customer of my VPN to use Google Bard, because if you want to get high quality chatbot, which is ChatGPT, you need to pay around 25 US, I think,
something like that.
25 USD to use ChatGPT 4.
Yeah.
And otherwise you get a 3.5 for free, which is really bad.
Yeah.
Like that's how companies work, right? They create a good product, they create a really bad product, like, but it's free. So
Google Bard's as good as ChatGPT 4.
Google Bard, it's getting better.
Yeah.
It wasn't good. It wasn't as good as ChatGPT, to be honest, up until Gemini Pro. That was launched like a couple of weeks ago.
And it's all free?
It's all free, at least for now.
Yeah.
And it's all free in Google Bard. And now I'm using my VPN. I'm paying, actually, because I'm a customer of my company.
Yeah.
So I'm paying.
It's smart. It's a smart business decision. Because you, how many paying customers?
3 now.
3?
Yeah.
Dude, it's better than 0.
Of course, it's better than 0.
Like, that's growth.
Yeah. And I'm using that to use Bard. I'm actually using Bard to create content for my website as well. And that's really good. It's been working really good. So that's one reason, right? And I'm not sure. I don't really have like a good market research to see if, like, what's the percentage of people that are using VPN for block content?
Yeah.
And what is the percentage for other purposes?
Sure.
But people are different. Their needs are different, right? Some people, I think, are getting more knowledgeable about the privacy in internet, right? And when we say privacy, there are many things about it. Everyone thinks privacy is just like me having my data, but sometimes it's confused by safety or by security and stuff, right? For example, one of the reasons that people might need to use VPN is when they are working in a coffee shop.
That's a good, like, right? If you're on HTTPS, you should be
safe enough.
Yes.
Theoretically.
but if let me ask this, like if they get access to if someone gets access to the physical router, they can decrypt those packets, right? Like
they can do something. It depends on how they set up the router, right? But if they want to sniff on you, they can route set up the router to be able to actually steal some of your data, and even just not stealing, like even just seeing
Yeah.
what you're doing
Sure.
in the internet.
Yeah.
That can sometimes be a big problem.
For sure.
Like your ISP, Shaw, TELUS, or whatever
Yeah.
it is here in Vancouver, they can see whatever you are doing in the internet.
Do you use encrypted DNS
For my VPN,
or both? Like your VPN or your home stuff, either one.
for my VPN, yes, but my my home setup, no.
Oh, I see. I see.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, they can see, like, those are not common scenarios that can happen,
Yeah.
but they can happen.
Sure.
And like even 1% chance, it can be a big problem. It can come with fraud. It can come with like financial costs and everything, right? But they can see and steal your data. They can see whatever you are doing, and that's one of the biggest. And that's another part of the idea of this VPN company, because I always wanted to use VPN, but I don't trust VPN companies. And the reason is that they are not using open source. They have their own protocols. It might be safe, but it also can be vulnerable, right?
Yes. Because you don't know. Because if it's closed, you have no idea what that company is doing.
You don't know. You don't know anything. And if they are big enough, they might even work with the government.
And the good thing about being open source is if you get popular, and by popular, I mean from the code base. If the code base gets popular, then you'll solve one of your problems of people contributing, right?
Exactly.
Like there are people like you who are passionate, and like there's a couple crazy people who are way better than us, and they get like, oh, I know how to help them, and the next thing you know, you have
exactly. And that's one of the beauties of this idea. Everything is open source, not the code that I'm setting up my VPN, because that has security risk in it. That's not open source.
Yeah.
But any tools that I'm using to set up the VPN is open source, right?
I understand. Yeah.
And it's using WireGuard protocol, which is one of the like newest and best VPN protocol. I believe it's the best protocol. It's the fastest, most secure. It's the most inspected. People are contributing to it because it's open source. And even for using that VPN, for using this VPN, you don't have to install my app.
Yeah.
You are installing an open source app.
Sure.
That you can download. Anyone can download it, right? You don't have to be my customer to download that app.
Yes.
So everything is open source. There are actually a couple of benefits to it. First, it reduces the cost of my VPN by a lot, right? Because I get all the patches as soon as possible, as soon as there is a new version of that open source protocol and open source software, right? I don't have to be worried about patching my servers.
Yeah.
I get like a new version released. I change my code to use that release, and that's done. Right? And people don't need to worry about like the breaches and like bugs because usually like open source is awesome. We are all using open source everywhere.
And you can even contribute back or make a fork and say, hey, like I want to add this feature, to.
Usually it's gonna be like a PR, not a fork.
Yeah,
I'm not a fan of forking.
I'm not either.
Source.
Yeah, but if they said to you no, and then you're like, well, this is important,
then you can exactly.
Yeah, but if you have a good solution and your code's good,
exactly.
Yeah. Anyway,
and if you are using it in a company that already has customers, right? It's probably a feature that everyone needs.
Yes.
So, but using open source, everything open source, reduces the cost to like almost zero. very low, and it makes it reduces vulnerabilities by a lot, because as soon as there is any bug in the code, it's gonna get fixed as soon as possible.
Do you pull latest security fixes?
Yes, and it's all automated.
All automated?
All automated. Yeah, I just change a number, pull request, push, done.
Nice.
Everything else.
Is it fully encrypted end to end? Like
it's fully encrypted. Yeah.
Like meaning it's all the ports throughout beginning to end, they're all encrypted.
That's another nice thing.
Yeah.
That's another good, I think, in my opinion, good architecture
Sure.
design that I made. I reduced all of the network hubs to just one.
Yeah.
And that's the server. I have availability, I have everything, right? All of multiple servers in a region, in a zone. But as soon as you get connected, you are directly connecting to the server.
Mm-hmm.
There is no other things in between. No DNS, no load balancer, nothing in between. I have load balancer, but I do load balancer at DNS level. Mm-hmm. So you just get directly connected to the server.
So let me ask this question. If the server gets blocked, does it automatically figure out I've been blocked, let me query let me try the DNS like a different one?
Not at the moment.
Yes.
Because at the moment I'm not trying to fix the blocked internet. Right? At the moment, it's just providing a good VPN service.
I see. Makes sense. Yes.
At some point when we get to fixing that blocking problem, that's something that's going to happen. But even now,
makes sense.
Even now, if the client, if that gets blocked, client can actually disconnect from the VPN. 5 minutes later, if they connect again, they are going to connect to a new server.
I see.
Yeah. So that's kind of happened, but
it's actually a good decision that you've made, because you could be too perfectionistic, right? And say, "Oh, I need this." Well, you don't need it for MVP.
No,
you don't need it to get in the U.S. market.
Exactly. And I think it's also a good decision because it's more secure, because there is nothing in between. It's just a WireGuard VPN server. That's all it is.
Is it public facing?
It is public facing. You are directly connecting to a public facing VPN, WireGuard VPN server, right?
Yes.
Nothing in between, so you get probably the best speed.
My only concern with your model that you've talked about from a security standpoint is the server itself is in the public what's it called?
But something
public subnet.
Public.
If you had a load balancer or something, it would be, but
still
it's minor. It's very minor.
But still, your load balancer needs to be in public subnet, right? And then because WireGuard using UDP, you need a different kind of load balancer.
Yes, an NLB.
Right?
Yes.
And that you are just moving the security somewhere else.
Yes, 100%. Yes.
So, but I'm getting a lot of other benefits from it. Right?
Yes.
Because the only port that's open in this server is the VPN port.
Yes.
So you finally need that port to be open to be able to connect to it, right? So that's the only port that's open in that server that's public facing.
Yes, and that makes sense.
So, but you get a lot of other benefits, right? You get easier, better load balancer. I get DNS load balancing, which is much easier. And then it's much faster because you are directly connecting to the server.
How do you do scaling? Is it
scaling up? You mean scaling?
Yeah.
At the moment, it's just it's not automatic.
Yeah.
But it's a scale out, and it's just a matter of merging a PR.
Gotcha.
As soon as and that can be automated very easily.
Again, the MVP,
exactly.
You could go through all these little I hope that your company is successful, right?
Thank you.
But if it's not successful, right? Like, or let me say it differently, right? Like, if you had taken all the time, like you have a startup, right? You could spend all this upfront engineering on the problems that you think you're going to need, right? Or you could just release an MVP and get customer feedback,
Exactly.
and like and then you might figure out, oh, like maybe we need to do this, but customers care about this now, right? So it's about prioritizing your backlog, right? Like, so I think that's a smart decision that you made. Like,
I think that's exactly what I did. Like, I tried to fix the problems that a VPN customer may have, or the questions that they may ask.
Yes.
Right? I had a couple of issues. Like, as I mentioned, I always wanted to use a VPN, like, all the time for privacy and everything. But I had a couple of issues. First, I think VPNs are expensive. It's not an expensive thing comparing to other things. But it's an expensive service that most people don't need or don't actually see the need. Right?
And it's a service that like doesn't really provide you like a product, like a feature, like it's not like an app, like, oh, I paid for this, and like it's not, not new, it's security, right? It's
exactly. You need to see the purpose. And then you also and if you see the purpose, you are also going to ask those questions. Is this actually secure? So this is going to hide my internet activity, my browsing activity from my ISP. But is it going to log it itself?
Yeah.
So it's just moving my privacy problem from somewhere to somewhere else. Right? Just giving the data, instead of giving my data to ISP, to the VPN server, right? The VPN company.
Yeah, makes sense.
And also, as I mentioned, they are, I think, expensive comparing to the service that they are providing, right? And those are, and I also have to install their app. I don't know what's in their app, and all of those made me think like, I'm not gonna use those VPNs, right? And I tried to answer and resolve all of these problems in this VPN, right? And that's why I mentioned it's pure WireGuard. Like WireGuard might be, people might not know about it, but it's a really secure, really fast VPN protocol, and other companies are also using WireGuard, but they have to customize it. That's the problem.
But you don't have to.
That's when the problems occur, right? They have to customize it to be able to match it and integrate it to their app, right? But I don't have to do it
because you're just using the WireGuard app.
Just for everything pure, and for those reasons, I can give it for cheap. It's just like I can easily give it for $1 a month.
You know, the only thing from like that I might consider if I were you, from an onboarding perspective, just to make it easier onboarding, would be if like because right now your instructions are download this app, then download this file, and so like if you could just automate those steps somehow, like where they go to this page and the app just downloads automatically, and then the certificate is installed automatically, but that's a later that's just from a user,
exactly.
Like if you're trying to get more people,
I know it's basically the biggest problem that I have, to be honest.
That's the biggest problem I see that you have. It's just like
it's the biggest problem, to be honest, but that also defeats the purpose. Right? I don't want people to install an app that they don't know or they don't trust.
Exactly.
Right? But now everything is WireGuard, and I'm not able to change. I don't want to change the WireGuard.
Exactly. So like, if you could figure out how to, like, without them having to really down like if it was just like a script that ran, or like a web page they went to and it said like do this, and then like it like took them to the app, and then they opened the app, and then like
yeah, I can definitely see that, but I still don't have a good solution for it, and it's probably a later problem, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, I definitely agree. It's the biggest problem that I.
You know what's something that you could do? I'm just thinking out loud here, right? Is if all you need is a URL to download the app, right? I wonder if you could do something with them, like if you could do a PR to the WireGuard app.
Okay.
That like in a single step, it would be like like the URL that goes to the app would contain the certificate embedded in the URL. So that certificate would automatically get loaded in the app upon installation, or upon opening the app, right? Like even if it like you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know,
because
it's probably gonna like reduce one step.
Yes.
Installation process.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
No. I can definitely see that. No, I can definitely see the problem. Yeah, this is. I mean, like, this is a trade-off.
Yeah, it's a
this
trade-off.
Is a trade-off I made.
Yes.
Right. I had to make that trade-off.
Yes. And I understand. Like, it makes perfect sense. Like, you don't want to install an app or write an app.
Exactly. And I mean, like, the number one priority for me is the trustworthy, the being trustworthy, right?
Yes.
And when everything is open source, zero customization, zero like everything, then the trade-off comes in that, okay, it's probably a little bit more difficult to set up this VPN.
Yes.
But even with that, I'm guessing that there are many people, like at this time, people are getting more comfortable.
Yeah.
These processes, right? Installing apps, installing certificates. And
I'm just thinking like my like mother. I know. Because
see that.
If you wanted to grow, like to make it the easiest experience for onboarding, like so I'll give you an example. There was this when me and Menelaus were starting our company, we met with a guy whose company was bought by, I think, Apple, right? Yeah. And so it was some like builder app. I'm not sure what the app did, right? But he was so focused on streamlining the onboarding process. He wanted a one-click.
Yep.
That when you installed the app, he didn't want you to have to sign in. And Apple had all these policies that you couldn't do this, right? And so his solution was when the app gets installed, right, that they wrote the email address in a font file.
Okay.
So that when the app was opened, it would just read the font file to get the email address.
Wow.
Right? And then it didn't. And then because of this, they could authenticate the user automatically without logging in.
Wow.
Yes.
That's really great idea.
But that's how, like, and so when I listened to this guy talk, like one thing he said is like, you want it to be so easy to use the app, because then and that's the only problem I see with your solution is the grandmas. Like me, no problem. Like Lucy, she's smart, right? But if I give this to my mother, like,
I know. I can see that.
And maybe it's a wizard,
something like that. Yeah, needs to be done.
Click this button and come, but
exactly.
It's that's the only hard part that you have.
Now it's I'm not sure if you saw. You probably didn't see, but
I might not saw.
I added another feature. That made it much easier.
Okay.
After installing WireGuard app, I added a QR code. You can just scan the QR code. and it's done.
Okay, that makes it way easier.
It's much easier.
That's
with
much
the QR
easier.
code. Yeah, it's
Yes.
much easier with the QR code. But still, I know the process is still.
But
there.
that's way better.
It's
though.
much better. Yeah.
So like you just say open the app and then use the QR code.
Just scan the QR code.
Scan the QR
That's
code.
all. That's all you need to do.
Yeah, that's much better.
That's
yeah.
much better. Yeah. But I mean, I have the options for like all
Sure.
the levels, like the
Yeah.
easiest
Yeah.
to the like completely manual
Sure.
process.
Yeah.
If anyone needs to actually do it. There's also another feature
Mhm.
that people can actually use their public key, their own public key, their own private and public key, basically. So they can upload their public key. So zero data out of their device. It's
Yeah.
all like
Yeah, yeah.
But you need to know this.
From
it's for
from people who don't know what Ehsan's saying, basically what he's saying is rather than his company generate the username and password,
exactly
he's letting the customer do it.
exactly
Yes.
exactly something like that. But you need to know detail
Yep.
and like be a little technical.
And do you
to be-
put on security restraints on the public key or like it has to be like RSA blah 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 or something?
It's a standard. It's a WireGuard standard. So
A
it
wire-
has. So you
I
need
see.
to create that with WireGuard. So as I mentioned,
That's
you
smart.
need to be a bit technical
yeah,
to
but-
actually be able to do that. But I mean, there is an
but no,
option for everyone.
But that's smart because the technical user, which you will have some, will want to do that.
yeah, exactly.
And then you don't have because it's a WireGuard managed, you
Yeah.
don't have to worry about that key being compromised.
Exactly. Even now we are
Yeah.
we are deleting the private key that we are generating as soon as you download your
Yeah.
configuration, right?
Sure.
So you have it. We don't
Yeah.
need it anymore, and you can't ask us for it anymore. If you want another one, just delete this connection and create a new one. Right? That's for normal users.
Sure.
So it can't be
Yeah.
reached basically, but it's still on the wire, right? It's still
Yes.
coming on the wire to you. But if you want 100% security, 100% privacy, still you have an option to actually provide your own public
Okay.
key.
Yes.
Then it's just that.
Very cool, my friend.
Yeah.
You know, a Facebook group, Facebook and Instagram group. Farnood showed me this. I think you're a member of it.
What
you
is
might
it?
be. We should be friends.
We should. Yeah.
Advertise on that, bro.
Probably pretty soon. Yeah. I'm
That's-
actually.
that's a good one too.
At the
Like,
moment, I'm preparing like
Yeah.
marketing materials and
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah.
you can see, I'm going to do this on my podcast. I'm gonna
Mhm.
try to get her as a guest.
Thank you.
The
That would be
group.
great, actually.
yes.
You mean like what's her name?
I gotta remember her name, but
Yeah.
but the runner of the group,
Yeah.
a woman.
That'd be great, actually.
Yeah. I-
Really good.
I don't want to mention my next guest now, but I have a cool guest coming that I'll talk to you.
Really
The next guest after you.
awesome.
I'll tell you this after the pod.
I'm curious then.
Yes, I just don't want to.
Be recorded
Yeah.
in this episode.
In this episode, yes,
Yeah. You don't want to spoil it.
yes.
Cool.
The last thing I want to talk to you about is a status update about Iran since our last conversation. So for people who don't know, Ehsan came on last time talking about the situation in Iran and the protests that were happening there last year after a girl, I'm terrible with names. What's
Masa Amini.
say it again.
Masa Amini.
Masa Amini
Yep.
was killed for showing parts of her hair, right?
Exactly.
And the massive protest broke out across Iran, and it was crazy.
Mhm.
So what's the status now?
It's complicated, but so the situation, the uprising actually scaled down after almost 10 months. So we had 10 months of like huge protests and all like uneasy in the country and everything. But I think what happened is that people got tired for sure for long protests and everything. And now the situation is scaled down, but I think that's a good thing, because I think people learned that this kind of revolution, we need to be honest, this is going to be a revolution. It needs to be a revolution.
You hope it's a revolution.
I hope it's going to be a revolution. And yeah, the thing is that it is scaled down from like the protestingers' perspective, but a lot of activities are still happening, either in Iran and outside Iran. Things are happening and people are getting ready for the next one. And I think people learned a lot about the mistakes they made, right? Because people went just without any preparation, without any knowledge, without any research, just went to the street. And they usually got like beat by the government, right? But now I think people learned a lot. And my guess is that next uprising, which is not going to be too long from now, people are going to behave differently. They're going to be smarter. It's going to be more people. And this fight, it's happening every day. It's never gonna cool down to zero. This is a fight that's happening. Like people with just walking in the street, like especially women, walking in the street without wearing their hijab, it's part of their fight.
And how is the I'm trying to think of that how's the morality police like responding to that?
It's actually getting worse. And the reason is that I think, at least what we see from the government reaction of all this protesting, is that they are trying to push even harder because they thought that they were successful, right? We could cool down everything and people can't do anything anymore. We are the government, we have the power, and just shut up. So now they're actually pushing even more and more and making things harder and harder for people, especially for women.
And that's probably making people more angry.
More angry. And then when people are angrier, the next event is going to happen sometime with some trigger. We don't know yet.
So you think it's going to take a trigger to...
It's always been a trigger. There has always been a trigger. Like this protest was the biggest one, but it wasn't the only one. So during like past 15 years, we've always had this kind of similar protests.
Yes.
But they were like shorter times. Some of them were actually larger, like in terms of the population that came to the street. But the duration of this protest, of this uprising, was actually much long. It was a longer period. So when people are angrier, I was saying that there's always been a trigger. Like at some point it was a gas price. At some point it was like the president election, right, of the country, and people thought that they actually stole their votes. So there's always been a trigger. So there's gonna be a trigger at some point. And this time I think people are gonna be different. And people learned a lot. A lot of organizations actually was made outside Iran to help people inside. So I think the fight is still
strong,
active, is strong, but it's in the background. So and people are just getting ready. This VPN is one of them. At some point I realized I just can't continue doing this forever. right? We need something
Doing what? The
like creating VPN
Yeah,
servers
yeah.
every time
Sure.
they block it and all this stuff. We need something bigger, right?
Mhm.
Then I gave up of creating a small servers, and I said, okay, I'm not gonna do that anymore. But instead, I'm gonna spend that time to build something bigger,
Mm.
but that can help in long term, right?
Yes.
Because like the thing is that one of the reasons that the uprising was really hot last year was that people thought this is the last one. This is gonna happen.
Yeah.
Everyone's angry. This is a big one. We are gonna do the revolution. It's
Yes.
just gonna take 3 months. And people were just guessing, no, it's just gonna take 3 months. Someone said, no, it's gonna take 8 months. Someone said, no, it's gonna get like 10 years. And then after it cooled down, we realized it's gonna take longer.
What do you think it's gonna take to like get it for the revolution, for a new government to come in?
I think there are a couple of factors. One of them is, for sure, the majority of people, right? Like more people getting disappointed from like this government, from this situation, and the more people being brave for coming to the street, the more closer we get to the revolution. But there are other factors. I think I mentioned that in the last episode as well. But and one of the biggest one is if Western governments, specifically the US and UK, are seeing the purpose of changing that government or not, right? Because we all know, and like last year was just a proof to that they don't want it yet. They are happy with this government for any reason. I don't want to, like, that's the longest story to talk. Like it's gonna take hours to talk about like the benefits of the UN for the US.
The next time that you come on, I would like to maybe talk about
just to work about this.
Yeah.
I think
to do a deep dive on.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. We can do that. Like it's a bigger story, and probably I'm not gonna. Maybe we can do like an episode with a couple people. I just want.
Yeah.
Actually,
I can get some more.
Actually debate it.
Yeah.
Actually debate it. That's gonna be fun. But yeah,
but go on. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Yeah, no worries. But I mean, we know there's benefits to it. Like in the middle of all this uprising, so people US has a lot of bank accounts and like funds from Iran in the US blocked, right? For multiple purposes, for several reasons. And in the middle of that uprising, that's just one example. I'm just giving you. They freed some of those blocked funds.
Yeah, that was I remember that, like it was like a couple $1 billion.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it was like, what? And we are just like asking, like in the street here, right?
Yes.
So that's just, I just want to like I don't want to talk about it that much.
Okay,
But
that makes sense. Yeah.
I just know, everyone knows that they make decisions for other countries based on the profits that they have for them.
Yes,
right?
Of course.
And I don't know like the reason, but it could be that they don't know anyone that can replace this government, right? Maybe they don't trust anyone. Maybe, I don't know. They probably want something, or sometime that they make sure like this is a good time for this to happen. And we don't want them to do anything. We just don't want them to help the government.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah, like it seems the situation, particularly the last couple of weeks, like real since well, like because Gaza happened, right, and the Palestine invasion. That happened, and then now Israel's invaded as a response, and that's made the tensions there.
Yep.
And then this week there was some bombing in Yemen, I think. That happened a couple of days ago, and then the U.S. is retaliating, and the tensions in the region are at all-time high right now.
Exactly. And there was just a couple hours ago.
Yeah,
Iran invaded some spots in Iraq. Actually, that was I think we don't know their specifics yet. I just read the news like on the way I was coming here, so it's pretty new. But Iran invaded somewhere in Iraq. People say it was like a military base, U.S. military base. But I don't think that was it. So it's probably just gossip, I guess. But no, like the invasion happened, but we don't know what's that spot yet. So it's not clear yet. But I mean, I'm just confirming what you just mentioned, that the tension is at all-time high. Yeah. And that can be the time. We don't know.
And because a statistic I heard today, it's that whole region. One of the reasons, right, is there's a around there's a waterway for shipping, right?
Yep.
And like 60 or 70% of the world's shipping goes through there, and it's like 60% down, or like it's like people are avoiding the spot because of piracy, basically, right? And then so my point for saying that is economically, when you have that going on, then governments start to intervene.
That's a progress.
And I'm not saying that's good or bad, but that's what's going on right now.
Exactly. That's what we are hoping for. Yeah. I think that's it.
Well, my friend, I appreciate you coming on, Ehsan. It's always a pleasure.
Well, thank you for inviting me again.
And we should do this again sooner this time.
Yeah.
And have a deep dive into how we got to the state of affairs in Iran.
I agree. I think that would make a good episode, I think. That's gonna be spicy.
Yes. I'd love to do it. Absolutely. Well, thank you, my friend.
Thank you.
Yes. Cheers, everyone.
Cheers.
See you. Bye-bye.